Hey guys, welcome into College SportsCast. We are presented by the Fanboys, and tonight we are going to be doing our game day pick'ems, and we will talk about some college basketball games. John Roberts is with me. Hey, John.
Yo, what's up?
John Hammonds is with me. What's up, Hammonds? And is there any – I think Roberts is dropping some college football news just as we were going on. He's saying that Spencer Sanders from Oklahoma State is transferring to Ole Miss.
That is correct. That is the news that I have seen and heard.
And Walker Howard is already announced for Ole Miss as well?
I believe that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so Ole Miss is picking up quarterbacks left and right.
Yes, probably lose one between now and the start of the season.
Apparently, they're going to play 3 or 4 quarterbacks, is all I know.
Yes.
Something like that. I don't know.
Correct. They will play all 3 of them at the same time. It will be nothing but triple half-pack passes.
I mean, they're picking up quarterbacks left and right is all I can tell you.
And now the next one will be down the center.
Any other college football news or anything y'all want to bring up before we get started?
Well, Mike Bray announced today that he was retiring at the end of the year. That was a big basketball thing.
Yeah, I've seen that. And Mike Bray's been a really good coach for a lot of years. I'm not sure exactly how long he's been at Notre Dame, but he's been there for quite a while.
Well, I read something, was it a few minutes ago, they was doing like a little, you know how they do the highlight clips on ESPN. On one of them it said 23 seasons, so it might have been – he might have been there 23 – he might have been there past a decade. But at the end of the day, it was time. You could see it. Notre Dame, needed to go a different direction too. So Monken better not leave Georgia for the NFL.
Do it.
Don't worry, though.
Hey.
Georgia will somebody better, though.
Probably.
I mean,
always
Jordan, I have to get used to that. They're going to lose coaches. They're going to lose players.
They'll get Bill O'Brien.
Yeah.
They're going to get Bill O'Brien. He'll be the next Georgia offensive coordinator. And I see you, Barbanter. I see you.
Uh-huh.
Bill O'Brien. Get ready. Bill O'Brien.
I think Alabama's trying to get rid of him, so
yes, they will give you him and cash. You don't have to give anything back. It's okay.
Barbanter says please no, so that's got to be Travis.
Yes. I would think.
Yeah, I would think so too.
Got money.
All right, guys, we're going to get into our basketball pick'ems.
Yes.
Our first game we're going to talk about is on Saturday. It's number 17, Miami, plays at Duke. Miami's 15-3, number 17. Duke is 13-5 and has fell out of the top 25 this week.
What?
But
that happened?
But it happened.
When's the last time that happened?
It's been a while, I'm sure.
How long ago?
And it's at Duke. So Cameron Crazies are going to be out. Miami's ranked and Duke is not. So it's a little off filter.
Miami lost at Georgia Tech. They lost at North Carolina State. In between those games, though, they beat Boston College and Syracuse. So Duke to me is not playing the best right now, but I think I'm going to have to go with Duke because there's just something about that atmosphere at Cameron Indoors that does something to you as a fan. I just think it'll be the deciding factor at home.
All right. I mean, it's always a hard place to play at Cameron Indoor Stadium. So, John Roberts, what's your insight on Miami at Duke?
Miami at Duke. That sounds like preps versus, I don't know, the skater kids, the skater punks or something. Look, I've been wrong a lot, so let's go for another one. Miami. Let's just say Miami goes in there and figures out a way to do it. Upsets Duke at Duke.
Okay. I mean, I think Miami's got a team that can do that. And Duke is having a little bit of a down year. With John Shire as their new coach, first year after Coach K retired. He did get a really good recruiting class, number one, I think, in and has several freshmen, but that's the problem, I think. I think they're starting 3 or 4 freshmen, and it's just not gelling as well with the freshmen on the floor. So, but, however, playing at Cameron Indoor Stadium and with the Cameron Crazies, they're going to be out and crazy, and it's going to be a tough to play. I am going to pick Duke in this game to win this at home. If it was the other way around, I'd probably pick Miami, but at home, I'm going to pick Duke in this game. All right, so the second game we're going to cover is number 14 TCU, who is 14-4, is going to play at number 2 Kansas, who is 16-2. And the thing in this game is both teams are coming off losses.
Yeah, the biggest thing for TCU is can they get the performances from Miles and Emmanuel Miller? That's their 2 main guys. Kansas has got Grady Dick. They got Jalen Wilson, Adams. This is a good Kansas team. They're really balanced. They do a lot of pick and roll stuff that gives you a lot of problems on defense. But I think Kansas losing at Kansas State might wake these guys up a little bit. Especially it being at the Fog Saturday. TCU and Kansas, a lot of times they usually split during the season. Then they have 1 or 2 good games in the conference tournament every year that we love to watch. So I think TCU has to have Miller and Miles playing their best. So I think I'm going to take the Kansas with this game. I just think the guard play of Kansas will be too much for them Saturday.
All right.
And like Barbanner said, Kansas is not the team to lose 2 in a row. That's just not.
Kansas has been winning and in the other day they lose by 2 in overtime. So
yeah, the thing about Kansas, I'll be honest with you, I really love their pick and roll game. They make it's a sweet offense to what they run.
There's Travis from Barbanter saying Kansas won't lose 2 in a row.
Yeah, that's why I was judging. He was talking about it. But Kansas does a lot of good pick and roll stuff. They play good defense. I think they're up in the tops in top defense. TCU, I think, is up there too. So this would be a fun game to watch, but crazy stuff happens at the Fog. I mean, magic happens at the Fog a lot, and
definitely a tough place to play.
I wouldn't want to be the away team unless you're Kentucky last year, which they dominated last year.
Oh, that doesn't happen often. So
it don't happen very often, though.
All right, Roberts, what say you on this TCU Kansas game?
TCU at Kansas. We'll go Kansas. As it's been mentioned before, there's not too many times we've ever seen Kansas lose multiple games in a row, and I just don't see it's going to happen. And getting back home, maybe they recalibrate, readjust, and take it out on TCU.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I think is going to happen in this game. Going to Lawrence, Kansas is a tough place to play anyway. They're both coming off losses. And Kansas coming off of a loss. Bill Self will have these guys ready to play at home. And I expect the Jayhawks to win this game. So my pick is the Kansas Jayhawks. And then
I feel like in my two picks, I have done the exact opposite of each other. I picked a team that probably won't.
I say this next team when I don't understand them at times.
So I mean, it's Duke probably doesn't lose 2 games in a row either. You know, they didn't lose last game, did they? So no, never mind.
No, they beat.
It's been a while. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Well,
the next
anyway,
the next 2 games we're going to talk about is number 5 UCLA, who is 16-2, is going to be at number 11 Arizona, who is 15-3.
That's what I was saying. What has happened to this Arizona team? Like,
they're weird.
You know, they lost to Utah on the road. They lost at home to Washington State. They're 4-3 in conference. Still, they're ranked number 11th, but they're just not getting the production that they got last year.
Well, they were undefeated before the Pac-12 conference started.
And they were supposed to challenge UCLA for the Pac-12. And they just haven't been what I expected, to be honest. They haven't been the top 5 team that we saw all last year. Which they did. They did lose some pieces last year to the NBA, so that hurt them. But they also brought back quite a bit of pieces to that same team last year. So it shouldn't be as bad as it is at this point.
I mean, I kind of agree with that. They've had a rough going since Pac-12
they have.
league started.
And I'll be honest with you. I like UCLA, but this game's at Arizona, and yes, I know they lost to Washington State. But at the same time, that was rare. But at the same time, you know, you get up for these UCLA Arizona games. I mean, if you don't, you know, God bless you. I mean, especially if you got Bill Walton in the house. I mean, if he's ever there, I mean, you're going to play hard.
He's never there.
he's there, but he's not there. You know what
he's only there in body. That's it.
Only there in body, yeah.
Yes.
But, I think I'm going to take Arizona this game. I think they're going to bounce back. I think they're going to get it together. And I think they'll still make a run to the tournament. Now, I wouldn't say that they're as good as they was last year, but they still got enough pieces to get to the Sweet 16 and make some kind of run in the Pac-12 tournament.
I think so as well. John Roberts, what do you think on this game? This is like one of the premier games out west, UCLA versus Arizona.
We're going to go UCLA because I can't trust Arizona.
You know, gosh, I mean, I'm kind of that way. So this Arizona team has a lot of length. They're tall. They have long arms, and they can play that way. And I kind of thought this Arizona team might challenge for the Pac-12. The Pac-12 starts, and they start out 4-3, and now I'm kind of questioning whether or not they can do that. The Washington State game where they lost at home snapped a long win streak at home for them. They don't lose very often at home, and Arizona should be up and ready to play when UCLA comes to town. I mean, that's, like I said, that's probably their biggest rival out there for basketball, and it's one of the premier games. So I want to take UCLA in this game, but my brain says take Arizona. So I'm going to take Arizona in this game and say that they bounce back at home against a good UCLA team. And then the next game we're going to talk about is in the ACC. Number 10 Virginia, who is 14-3, plays at Wake Forest, who is 14-5, and Wake Forest is coming off of a win against Clemson the other night.
Wake Forest is also looking for their first home loss as well. They've not lost at home all season long this year.
They are looking for it. They are actively looking for the L.
You know,
can't find
Reese Beckman, Keke Clark, Franklin, that front court of Virginia might be one of the best front courts in the country. You know, and I like this team. But what Wake Forest needs this game just for the tournament. They need to string some wins along to get to the tournament. And I think, I think this Wake Forest team is a really good basketball team. You know, they got a guard in Tyree Appleby, former Florida Gator guard. They got Carr. I think he scored 24 points the other night. So this Wake Forest team's really good. Steve Forbes has done a really good job with this group. But I usually take the home team in this deal, but I still think Virginia is the better team in this game. And I'm going to take the Cavaliers on the road to get it done.
All right.
I just think that backcourt will be enough for them to get the job done on the road. And Winston-Salem ain't no slouch place to play either. Duke's lost there, North Carolina's lost there. That's always been a struggle place to win a basketball game.
It has. I mean, Wake Forest has been really good over the years, most of the time. So, minus the Danny Manning years. Sorry, that was a little joke. All right, Roberts.
I am going with Virginia double dribbled. Virginia, yeah. The team that has the same colors as Auburn because Auburn stole the colors.
Right. Yeah, I got
same
you.
one.
Same team, huh?
Yeah, same one. There's not another one that's called Virginia Cavaliers.
Oh, okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
In this game, this Virginia team started the year really, really hot, beating some really good teams, climbing all the way up into the top 2 or 3 of the polls. They are now sitting at 10, 14-3. They're right there, the top 2 or 3 in the ACC, and I just have a feeling that they're going to go in and take this game on the road. Wake Forest has got a good team, and like John Hammonds was talking about, it won't be an easy game, but I do expect Virginia to go in and come out with a victory in this game. So that's what I'm going to go with, and we'll move on to our next set of games. Our next set of games, I got number 9 Tennessee 15-3 at LSU, who is now 12-6 and has been reeling a little bit. But
What is happening?
Well, they had a player that was out last week. I know that, and then they had a player that they just had a guy that's just kind of gone cold.
LSU hasn't won an SEC game since they beat Arkansas in the home opener.
Week 1, yeah.
Week 1, yeah. And they've been discombobulated. Just nothing on the offense and defensive end. They just don't look like the same team that they did.
Tennessee played without a couple of players the other day, though. Are they going to be back?
I haven't heard Vescovi and Key But
I
I'll
think
tell you,
I think Vescovi had like a virus or something like that. He was a late.
he had a shoulder problem. He
Oh,
injured
he's
his
the shoulder. Then the
Yeah,
other
he
one
injured
was
his
sick.
shoulder in the Kentucky game, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah.
then the other one was sick.
The other one was sick. But
Right.
I'll tell you something about that win Tennessee had. Was it Wednesday, Tuesday, I believe. That was a big character win. You know, they was without two of their top guys. They even got behind to Mississippi State early in the game, 19-10, and they had to fight back to get within it. Mississippi State right now is just not a good basketball team. And that's not to take away from Tennessee, because Tennessee really played really good, especially second half. But if you're Tennessee, you want to go in here and you want to put the nail in the coffin, so to speak, on LSU.
And honestly, if LSU gets beat again at home, and goes to 12-7, that might actually put the nail in the coffin.
That's what I'm saying. If you're Tennessee, you want to go in there and you just want to put their season away. If I'm not mistaken, LSU is wearing retro LSU jerseys this weekend. They're wearing the old Louisiana State with the star jerseys. So they're bringing out some stuff for Tennessee this weekend. So maybe a little change in the jerseys would do something. I don't know. Anything could work better than what's going on with them right now. They're just not playing good basketball.
Well, and if Tennessee is down a player or two, then that might affect things as well a little bit.
I mean, it might slightly even the odds, but no.
And I'll be honest with you, the coach that they got from Murray State, he's not a bad coach. He's a really good coach.
No, he's a pretty good coach.
I mean, he got tossed in there quickly, and it just takes some time.
They lost a lot of people, didn't they?
Yeah, and they lost quite a bit of guys, to the transfer, especially to the transfer portal.
Yeah. So who you picking, John?
It feels like Murray State South is what it feels like.
Correct. Oh, I'm going Tennessee because first of all, Tennessee's just that much better. Tennessee's backups and a lot of their bench players could probably beat LSU right now. So, LSU's just not that good right now. Now, they've got some speed. They look like they could if they could put something together offensively. It just seems like they could. You know, they win a few big games, but they couldn't do anything the last few games. They just look just so erratic. But and again, some of it is they've got an injury or two, and I mean it is in that part of the season where you're going to have the nagging injuries for the rest of the season. But it just, I don't know. I'm just not really sure. So.
Robert Rhodes is on with us, and he says he's going with LSU. Just thought I'd throw that up there. So here's my thing. Y'all were talking about LSU and losing a few players. So on April 1st, LSU had 0 players. They had all either transferred out or put their name in the portal. Every single player. And
it feels like a lot.
When
you're talking about all of them, that sounds like a lot.
0. They had 0 players on the team, okay? And the Murray coach comes in. There's about 2 or 3 guys, about 3 guys that transferred with him. He talked Adam Miller into coming back, who is probably their best shooter on the team. And Adam Miller is actually a returning player, which they don't have him he might be the only one. He did talk Adam Miller into not transferring out, so he did come back from the portal. And then they filled their roster with just a bunch of transfers. And to be quite honest with you, I was rather surprised that LSU was sitting at 11-1 about 3 weeks ago.
And then they just kind of like flew off the map.
Yeah, considering where they had come from this year after losing Wade last year the way they did, and the controversy and everything behind that, and then having to put together an entire team and coaching staff. I
mean,
was
that's
rather
what they do
surprised
anyway,
by
right? They put together entire teams, or do they have to do it over like a series of years consecutively before they flip their roster?
most
You
of the
could do it
time.
in 1 year, right?
Well, he did. He did it in 1 year. So anyway, I'm going to go with Tennessee in this game. I think LSU is a year or two away from having the kind of players that they really need. There is one kid from that transferred in from Murray, a big kid. I can't remember his name right now off the top of my head,
Hill.
but
Hill.
he's really good. And then the Adam Miller guy who transferred from Illinois a couple of years ago.
Hannibal's good too.
Yeah. So, I mean, they've got a few pieces. I just don't think they have enough for an entire team to pull out a game against Tennessee. So that's where I'm, like I said, they do have a few pieces, and I do believe that the Murray guy will get it straightened out. Yeah, he just had a lot of work to do in front of him. So the next game we're going to talk about is number 4 Alabama, 16-2, is playing at Missouri, who is 14-4, and Missouri won a big game last night at home against Arkansas.
Questionable game on both sides. The officiating was pretty ridiculous. I'll just leave it at that.
I think
it's going to be so.
I think Auburn broke Arkansas.
I wouldn't say that.
Is now Arkansas is now 1-5 in the conference.
If we're being realistic here, I re-looked at the numbers last night. I think there was over 50, maybe 50, 60 fouls called in that game. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
How many fouled out?
There was 4, I believe, for Arkansas fouled out.
Wait, 4 on one team?
Yeah.
So not 4 altogether, 4 on one team.
4 on one team, yes.
Okay, that's bad.
And then they had a call. I think Brad's seen it, where the guy wasn't even near him, didn't even touch him, and he throws the ball and it goes in. They call it a foul, and there was nobody even near him. Like even Ray Charles could have even seen that.
But his call would have been Georgia.
It's just
Georgia.
We'll get on another topic with the SEC. We'll get on another topic with officiating on a later date, but it's bad everywhere. It's not just the SEC; it's all over. But
is Bama going to come in and run Missouri out? I mean, Bama's been playing really well.
I mean, they got Brandon Miller. They got the Sears kid. I'm not sure if the Burnett kid, if he's healthy yet. He's a really good defensive player. The biggest thing with this Alabama team is they crashed the glass. They absolutely crashed the glass.
They're tall, long.
And Missouri's going to have to hang in this game. They're going to have to keep this game within 5 or 6 points before halftime, because if they don't, Alabama could run this game out of the gym. This Alabama team is probably the best team in the country right now. Brandon Miller.
They are playing quite like they might be the best team in the country.
Brandon Miller might be the next big thing in the NBA. He's that good. I think he scored. Didn't he score 30 against Vanderbilt? I mean, he's, and everybody says, well, this is the game Alabama struggles. Going on the road into a big environment, and what do? They just go in there and they do what they do. It's just they're that good. And now I will say this might be their first big test since they played Houston on the road. What Missouri does with that is up to Missouri. So
Kobe Brown's going to have to play an awfully big game.
he's going to have to hit some shots. I can't remember the little guard's name. He's going to have to not turn the ball over. They're not going to have – the biggest thing with Alabama, their biggest issue is they turn the ball over a lot. And you can get transition points out of that. Arkansas did quite a bit against them. So if you're going to win this game, you got to turn Alabama over. And I don't see that happening this weekend. I've been wrong before, so put a nail on me. So I'm going to go Alabama though.
Okay.
I think Alabama wins this convincingly. By the way, 10+.
Okay, John Roberts.
Well, I'm wrong 40. I'm wrong. Sorry, 60% of the time, and I say Alabama.
All right. That's him hoping he's wrong. By the way, he's an Auburn fan, so.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's him hoping he's wrong. So, Alabama's been playing like the best team in the country. I do believe that Missouri's probably going to get a lot of calls in this game at home. They usually do. And that's kind of how they've won a couple of these games at home this year. They beat Kentucky. They beat Arkansas. And they're getting a lot of calls. And I think that is something that will probably continue in this game as well. And Alabama's going to have to overcome that. But I do kind of think Alabama is good enough to do that. So I'm going to pick Alabama on the road in this game, even though Missouri probably is going to give it their best. I just see Alabama overcoming it and winning this game. Kind of like Rob just said, maybe by 8, 10, 12 points, something like that. Actually, it was Hammonds that said that, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well,
There you go.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, I would agree. But I didn't say
Robert.
it, though.
Yeah. Okay. Robert Rose is with us, and he's side. So I got that up for a minute. And he's a Kentucky fan, by the way. So just so y'all know.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not an Alabama fan. All right, so our next set of games going to go to on Saturday. We've got number 7 Texas, who's 15-3, at West Virginia, who is 11-7 and coming off a pretty big win the other night. Was it last night, Hammonds, or was it the night before?
Yeah, it was last night. Name to remember: Jimmy Bell Jr. He had a double-double last night for West Virginia. He's a big part of that offense.
And it was a home game.
It was.
Yeah.
West Virginia is always a hard game, especially on the road. And Texas is going to be playing back-to-back games where they lost to Iowa State just last night. So I think you got Marcus Carr, you got the playmakers, Tyrese Hunter for Texas. I think they're going to bounce back this week. I tell you, man, I hate to go against Bob Huggins, especially in a crucial game like this that they need for the tournament. So let's just do what I think I'll say, and that's let's just pick Bob Huggins. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I think West Virginia, that place, it might not be the biggest environment, but those fans get absolutely crazy down there. It's like a fever pitch whenever they're good.
Yep. It's a tough place to play.
Kansas learned that early in the game, and then Kansas kind of went away from that. TCU learned it really quick. They was behind like 20 points last night. So let's go with West Virginia.
All right. John Roberts, what are you going to say on number 7 Texas at West Virginia?
Country roads take me home. Yeah, that's West Virginia. I'm not gonna keep singing. Sorry.
Oh man, I was
Yeah.
enjoying that so much.
No, you weren't. It was making your ears bleed. I could see it. They were coming right out of your little blue headphones right there.
I had to say that.
No, you didn't.
All right, so Huggins is always got his team ready to play at home. It's on the road where he always struggles, or West Virginia kind of struggles. And this is a big game for them, setting at 11-7 to have Texas come into their house. I expect Press Virginia to show up tomorrow night or show up Saturday night. And I'm gonna call the upset, and I'm gonna say West Virginia wins this game at home. So, Hammonds, I'm with you on that. I just see them playing that scrappy Bob Huggins, turn you over, press
In your face.
yeah,
Yeah.
in your face. I just see that
Talk
happening.
talk about your mama type thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I see happening in this game, and I'm going to take Press Virginia in this game. And then the next game we're going to talk about on Saturday is a pretty big game for the Big Blue Nation. Texas A&M, who is 13-5,
It's a big game for A&M. It's a big game for A&M.
but has won 6 out of 7 in their last 7 games, and they are at Kentucky, who is 12-6 and seems to have found a little bit of something to turn things around the last 2 games.
Well,
So
I was reading the statistician, the Baylor grad, Evan. I can't really say I don't know how to say his last name, but he had mentioned the offensive efficiencies, the defensive efficiencies, and how the lineups work in and out. And he said that it was the most productive offensive lineup Kentucky has had probably since the 1920 team when they had Higgins, Maxey, E.J. Montgomery, Emmanuel Quickly.
2020 team, by the way.
2020 team, yeah.
You said 1920.
Well, I mean, it was,
That was a long time ago.
It was going into that. It was going into that year. So
There was a pandemic back then too.
there was, yeah, there was that shut everything down, and
Yeah, that's right. The world stopped.
for a
Polio.
while.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
right.
So, I like this Kentucky lineup. I think it's going to be a lot better. I understand where everybody's come from with Wheeler. You know, he's a vital part to this team, but I think where he's so small and whatnot, he gets runned around on the defensive end of the ball. And I think that's what's hurting him the most. And, you know, his defense is what's lacking, I think. And he makes some crucial errors at crucial times. You know, the South Carolina game, he threw the ball away when he was only, down 1. And you can't do that at certain times in the game.
He had 2 turnovers at the very end, like in the last 30 seconds.
But like I said, I'm going to take this pick and get it over with. I'm taking the Cats. I think they win this one. I think they get it together. I think they knock off A&M and knock them from the ranks, the unbeaten in SEC. I think Oscar has another big game. And by the way, what a performance the other night! Like, that was one for the ages, man. That was.
And you said he wasn't one of those top players in college basketball.
That was peak. That was peak.
And he showed out after we said that too.
Yeah,
that was
you Kentucky doubters.
That was peak. That was peak player of the year Oscar from last year. So that was.
And who's the guy that said something?
If Kentucky gets that Oscar, Kentucky's going to be absolutely fine.
You're right, Roberts.
So I got Kentucky.
All right, Hammonds.
Hunter Biggins. You know that on KSR, Hunter Biggins.
All right, Roberts, what are you going to say on this game? It's at Rupp.
60% of the time, it works every time. CATS, cats.
I hope that ain't the kiss of death like hers.
Yeah, me too. All right, so a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 now, I kind of vowed that I wasn't going to pick the Cats again until they showed me something.
Well, they showed you something now.
They've showed me something. It's okay. When they played Tennessee, and then the second half against Georgia, they continued what they did against Tennessee. First half, not quite so much. Here's my deal. The lineup that Hammonds is talking about is Cason Wallace, Fredericks, Reeves, Toppin, and Oscar Tshiebwe. That's the lineup that everybody keeps talking about. I'm okay with, and I actually like the idea of Reeves coming off the bench in that lineup. It gives us a pickup off the bench. It gives us a score off the bench, and I think that's kind of needed when your top 5 scores are on the floor and you have to go to the bench and you just don't have any points production from the bench. That usually hurts a team.
Here's the thing about the 3-guard lineup situation. If you got a 3-guard lineup, it's imperative that you rebound the ball.
They have to crash the board.
If you got 3 guards and you can't rebound,
but that's also where Oscar Tshiebwe comes in.
And that's where Toppin comes in. Toppin did that the other night.
Toppin did that the other night against Georgia.
But you're going to face some stiffer competition coming up. Kansas. Tennessee will be back for another home game at Kentucky. So,
this Texas A&M team is a hard-nosed, scrappy defensive team.
They're not the best offensively. They're really good defensively.
They're great defensively, and Kentucky's going to have to be ready for that. It's a home game.
Georgia,
like I said, I do think that Reeves coming off the bench is the right play with that lineup. I do like Livingston in there and getting some minutes. I think Livingston with some minutes and experience later on down the road when it comes March is going to show out. He's got that kind of talent, and I think that's the right play. I also think that Damian Collins getting in that lineup and getting 12, 15 minutes a game is going to be an important key for this Kentucky team down the road as well.
That really showed it out to me was Georgia was only averaging opponents 50, 60 points a game, and Kentucky scored 85 on them.
Right.
If that don't tell you –
but they had 51 after halftime.
If that don't tell you how the lineup switch went and Oscar going absolutely ballistic, because Oscar after halftime went absolutely bananas, man.
He did. He had 23 points and 15 rebounds after halftime in one half.
He went into a lab and turned himself on and went into
you talking about Oscar's performance against Georgia. Oscar's performance against Georgia was the first 35 and 20 game, 35 points, 20-plus rebound game at Kentucky since 1976. Mike Phillips.
Oh, Mike Phillips.
Since 1976, okay? That's just a couple of years before I was born. So
that's impressive.
It's a long time ago, okay?
That's pretty impressive.
And Tshiebwe had 37 points, and I said plus 20. He had 24 rebounds. He almost had 30, 35, 25 game. And, I mean, it's just a monster game. Tshiebwe said, hey, wait a second. Don't forget about me when it comes to player of the year, which I kind of did on our show on Tuesday. So, anyways, I'm going to pick the Cats in this game. Yes, Roberts, I know you brought up Sheboygan. I'm going to pick the Cats in this game and hope for the best, and we'll see where we're at on Sunday with our broadcast with Steve Heigl that's going to be on the show, and we'll do a little recap and talk college basketball with him on Sunday. Our next set of games here is going to be NC State, who is 15-4, is playing at North Carolina, who is 12-6. North Carolina's also won a couple of games and has been playing a little better.
This is a game between two hot teams, sort of. You got the Wolfpack, you got North Carolina. So it's hard to pick against the Tar Heels, especially at Chapel Hill. They play good at home. They're not so good on the road. NC State is better at home, and they're not so good on the road. So I think I'm going to just stay with the home team this game. One of them is going to cool off. One team's going to lose, and one team's going to win. So that's the way you look at that. So, but if NC State wins this game, I don't even think they're ranked right now.
Neither one of these teams are ranked.
I think,
but NC State is 15-4.
If they beat North Carolina, then I could see NC State jumping in at 23 or 22 because they did beat Miami last weekend. So
right, I can see that. It's a game that I think if they win, they can get ranked.
They can. I think I'm going to take the Tar Heels this one though.
Okay, John Roberts.
I just like the home team in this one.
I'm going to go against you.
Okay.
Wolfpack. Woo!
All right, so I'm going Wolfpack in this game as well. This Carolina team has had some struggles, just like kind of Kentucky has this year. NC State has been playing really well as of late and won some big games. They crushed Duke. They beat Miami. NC State's been playing really well. I know it's at Chapel Hill, and it's not going to be an easy game to win, but I'm going to go with the Wolfpack in this game. And then we're going to talk about is on Sunday, and I picked this game because the Big Ten, if you look at the Big Ten's standings, there is a pretty big discrepancy from Purdue to the rest of the pack. Everybody else has already lost about 3 or 4 games. It seems like all the good teams, Illinois, Michigan State, all the good teams, and people are still saying that the Big Ten is going to get 7, 8, 9, 10 teams in the tournament. And you look at their records, and I just don't see it. This Michigan State team is 12-6, and Indiana is sitting at 11-6. I think this is a big enough game that whoever loses this game, in my opinion, should be out unless they just go on a hellish run.
Fair to Michigan State, they did beat Rutgers tonight. So,
okay,
they beat Rutgers, I think, by 9, maybe 13, maybe.
Yeah, they were playing tonight. Yeah,
they won 70-57, I believe. So. This is a bigger game for Indiana than it is Michigan State because Michigan State's got some wins on their thing. Indiana has got some ugly losses.
They do.
And I'll be honest with you. A loss here, and I just don't see Indiana getting in unless they run the table and win the Big Ten tournament. In that Big Ten tournament every year, there's always that one little team, Michigan State. There's always somebody that gets to semifinal Saturday usually. And this year, I don't really know who to pick because Purdue is just head and shoulders better than everybody else.
So far, it's what it looks like.
But back to the game, I think I'm going to take Indiana. It's at Bloomington. They always
It
play
is?
hard in Bloomington. That place is like a cracker box, buddy. It's like tied in together. Um, and it's very hard to hear in that. I listened to a podcast a couple years back of a Kentucky player. I can't remember. I think it might have been John Wall, and he said it was absolutely the hardest to hear coaches to talk. I can't remember. It might have been the 12 team, but they said it was so loud because it was so small of a gym that you couldn't hear the coaches speak. And I think you're going to see Michigan State or Indiana come out with some fire. I think you're going to see Michigan State do the same thing too. So I feel like if Michigan State does win this game, though, I think they're solid for a couple of games. You beat Indiana and you beat Rutgers, two teams probably high in the net. That's going to look good on your resume.
Right.
So I'm going to take the Spartans. I think I'm going to take the Spartans on the road.
Okay.
Wait, you just flipped right there?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
just
I think
flipped it.
I want to pick Indiana, but there's a lot of problems with Indiana right now. I just don't. I think they're going to play good. I just think they're not. They're missing some key pieces. One of their star players has been out for the year.
Yeah.
I just don't think they're as good without him running the show.
Going Indiana.
You're going
Going
Indiana?
Indiana. Yeah, Gary, Indiana.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man.
Hold on. Let's take a look at this. Hey, you keep going. I'm going to read this thing, and then I'm going to see if this is worth repeating on the air.
Okay.
Go for it. Yeah.
So, this to me, I'm talking about the Big Ten for just a second. So, you got Purdue that is 18-1, 7-1 in conference play, and then you have 7 teams behind Purdue with 3 losses. 7 out of the Big Ten already. There's a couple of teams that
Indiana and Illinois is playing right now, actually.
Well, Illinois is one of them. They're 4-3. You got like 4-4-3 teams, a couple of 5-3 teams, a 3-3 team. There are 7 teams behind Purdue with 3 losses in the Big Ten right now. And some of them's records are 12-6, 10-8, 12-5, 12-6.
And actually, as we speak, Indiana's up 12 on Illinois on the road. So that would be a big win for Illinois if they was to, or Indiana if they was to pull that off. So I think he froze up.
Me or him?
No, Brad.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, that is not good. No, sir.
Oh, no. All right, so I guess we're going to have to roll with this. So, yeah, the next game is Kansas and Baylor. I'm just going to throw it to you.
I like Kansas in this game. It's at Baylor.
Big
Monday is back. Baylor has been up and down some this year, but Kansas has always been good on the road. So I think I want to take Kansas.
You know what? I'm with you right there. I'm going Kansas as well. So that'll give us Kansas 2 games in a row right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one, K-State at Iowa State. And I believe what Iowa State just beat up. Oh, there you are. Hey, Brad's back.
I'm not sure what happened.
You froze.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened.
And look who's leading the podcast now.
Yeah, look at him. Big man with the big head.
Big man on campus. No,
I'm not sure what happened there. So did y'all get me saying Michigan State, picking Michigan State?
Sure.
Yeah, I heard you. I heard you.
Yeah.
We're on Kansas State, I think. And
Yeah,
Iowa State.
we actually just did Kansas and Baylor. We were getting ready to move to Kansas State, so you can go. You can get your Kansas and Baylor one.
Jerome Tang, the American Dream.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to take Kansas in the Kansas and Baylor game.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Now K-State and Iowa State.
Jerome Tang, the American Dream. That's all I got to say.
Yes.
Jerome Tang is living the life right now.
You got it.
I'm going to take Kansas State probably. It's at Iowa State, and Iowa State is probably going to give them everything they got. But
Kansas State will too. This Kansas State team is pretty good.
Yep.
You know,
I like
Kansas
State.
They got the former Keontae Johnson, played at Florida.
Yep. That's
Noel,
right.
The guard, he's really good.
Keontae Johnson just had a whale of a game his last game.
He did, man. That was some basketball game.
It was.
Manhattan is jumping right now. That's all I can tell you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear what Fran Fraschilla said?
Nope.
They asked him. He was trying to get out of Kansas State, out of the parking lot, and he said, "I need somebody to come help me get out of here. It's wild." He was trying to get back home.
Oh wow.
They weren't really tearing things up. They was just excited about the win, which I can't blame them. You know, Kansas State hasn't been relevant since Frank Martin.
They've had a few good years, but Frank Martin's the last time they've been really relevant year after year.
Where they were consistent.
Right.
Yeah.
They was all right with Bob Huggins too. I think there was a couple good years there with Bob.
A few good years of Bob. So what I was looking at earlier in this thing before Brad froze up, I saw the play, or a play, not the play, but a play in the Arkansas Missouri game, and you had tweeted it out, John. This is the one with about a minute to go in the game where the Missouri player pretty much just kind of doesn't really push off, or he doesn't really do anything. I mean, the Arkansas player is barely touching him, but then the Missouri player takes a step back, shoots the ball, and falls down on his back. He gets the score, the basket, and one. And you said, you know, these refs need to send in its working papers and work Walmart, and this is absolutely insane with the call that was made. But what I saw was that the SEC officiating statement, but it was regarding a different call about 15 seconds later of game clock, and that one. They apparently say that it was incorrectly called because the review officials incorrectly called that the play in question could not be reviewed, and this was something regarding the I believe it was a Missouri player and being in the restricted area and whatnot. And then they didn't review the play, and therefore it stood as called, which apparently was incorrect. And the only thing that the SEC acknowledged was that the reviewing official called it incorrectly, and that all the officials are graded, and this is how they get their assignments each week, and whether or not they are in, you know, officiating championship games or postseason or anything like that. But
it was a bad call, that's for sure.
Yeah, the clip that you tweeted out was not the same one that this was a part of. That's what I was trying to go back and look and see what time of the game was the one that you had tweeted out, but it's about 15 to 20 seconds before the time that this other play happened. So if that first play looks really bad, this one had to be even worse. Just looking at what's coming down with it. So
Right.
yeah, it's bad. It's all bad.
So a couple of news things. I've got up our Home for Our Troops. This is our 2023 nonprofit organization for Winning Edge Sports and the Fanboys. And they take wounded, most of the time, veterans, injured and wounded veterans. That's who they deal with most of the time. And they build them homes wherever they would like to build homes. If they're coming back and they're from wherever, they're from Minnesota and they want to build a home down south in the warm and build it in Alabama or Florida, they will build a home for them in Alabama or Florida. For every dollar that you give, 90 cents of it goes towards the veterans. And like I said, they are building homes and rebuilding lives. You can give to them at www.hfotusa.org. And then the last thing that I wanted to mention, look for us to start code soon for Prize Picks. Prize Picks is a thing where you can pick whatever games is going on that night. You can pick a couple of players. Last night, I know that SGA was put in at 29 points, and you pick whether or not he was going to have less or more points. You have to do at least two people or two entities that's going to be more or less. You can do up to 6. Anyway, Prize Picks, look for it. We're going to have a code. We can double your money. So up to $100, we can double your money. If you put 50 in, you'll get $100 through our code. If you put $100 in, you'll get $200 to use for Prize Picks. Minimum bet is $5. So
and it's two. If you're wondering who SGA is, it's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Because a lot of people don't know who that is.
Well, okay, yes, it's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander from Oklahoma City. He played at Kentucky, and I call him SGA because that's what everybody around here
everybody does. I even
is he the El Presidente of the SGA?
I even call him SGA, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah, you're right, Hammonds. It is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander from Oklahoma City. But anyway, so you pick a player. It can be college, it can be football. When it's football season, it can be anything, and you just say whether or not he's going to have more or less. And they set a line, and you can flex it and miss one. Say you do a 3-pick, you can flex it and miss one and only get 2 or 3 right and still get money. Or you can do a power play and get all of them right and gain a lot more money. If you do up to 6 and power play it, I think you can multiply your money by 25 times. So what do you bet? You win 25.
Tomorrow evening on Twitter, I will have a Twitter space at 7 o'clock. I'm going to do it's going to be presented by the Fanboys. I think I'm going to have a couple of guys help me host it. Apparently, Brad cannot get on Spaces because his phone won't let him.
Well, my phone don't have enough memory to download anything, so I do all my Twitter stuff.
Get to the Singular store and start buying.
Yeah, I know. So I do everything off of my iPad, and you can't do Twitter Space off of iPad. It's not a thing. You can't. They won't let you. So
I'm just giving him a hard time, but
yeah,
I'm going to be doing that about 7 o'clock. I think Nathan, he's with the Notre Dame Golden Homers. I think he's going to help me, and Carlito, I think he's a Tennessee fan. I think we're just going to discuss the transfer portal, winners, losers, teams that benefited from the transfer portal, teams that didn't benefit from it. So it'll be a fun little chat, and we'll try to talk a little college football tomorrow because college basketball is in high gear. Conference play is already 2 weeks in, And if I'm not mistaken, there'll be college baseball here pretty soon.
Oh yeah,
There will be.
that's
Well,
right.
so y'all join John's Twitter space tomorrow night. If I could, I would, but right now I can't really do that.
He
So
can. He's balling on a budget.
I'm limited on what I can do. So yes, I probably need a new phone.
He's balling on a budget. Everybody,
Robert's,
chip
don't be
in.
shaking your head at me.
Everybody
Anyway,
chip in, get him a phone.
Yeah, please. I need a phone. No, I'm just messing with everybody. All right, so we appreciate you guys being on with us tonight. You can kind of hold us to some of these picks and come on next time and tell us what we got right and what we got wrong. And we should being on with us. Again, we are presented by Defense. It's a podcast group that is part of the Winning Edge Sports Network. Look us up. We're doing all kinds of stuff. In the past week, I've wrote 4 Kentucky articles about games and 1 football article, 3 basketball articles. Look us up. We're trying to get a little bit more out there and more well-known. So look, Winning Edge Sports, the Fanboys, or College SportsCast. And there are lots of things that you can do and catch up on the Fanboys. There is Notre Dame podcast. There's Clemson podcast. There's North Carolina State podcast, Tennessee. Just look it up. There is all kinds of different podcasts on thefanboys.com.
This is only the beginning with all this too. So
it is. We have a lot going on. We're looking forward to a lot.
We actually had a meeting today, so
yeah,
there's just a lot to go over.
So, and that prize picks things was one of the things in the meeting. We are going to be getting that. Maybe we might have that in place by Sunday when the next time we do our show. So they are loading everything in, codes and stuff for each one of us. It might take a day or two. So, but soon we will have a code that can double your money on the prize picks. And that should be something fun for everybody. Heck, I'm thinking about doing it myself. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm thinking about having some fun with it myself. What about you, Roberts?
Hey, man, that sounds like a great idea. I'm gonna jump in and do a little higher than or less than, more than, greater than or less than.
And do and double money. I mean, you can't beat that. I'm thinking about jumping in and doing it myself. So going to have a little bit of fun. So I hope everybody else will join in with us when we get our code and double your money and fun playing and picking these games and picking more or less, basically. And we will see you guys on Sunday. Sunday, we are going to have Stephen Heigl on with us. He is a John Wooden Award voter, and he runs just collegefootball.net and just collegebasketball.net. Like I said, he is a Wooden Award voter. He knows what he's talking about in the game. He does a lot of stuff with his own websites and a podcast himself. We look forward to him being on talking college basketball and college football. And then next Tuesday night, we are going to have our very first NFL mock draft. We're going to have 2 rounds. We're excited about that and having the mock draft guy YouTube on with us. He does a really good job. He has over about 3.7K followers on YouTube. And go watch some of his mock draft stuff that he does. He evaluates players. He breaks down what the needs are for the NFL teams. He does a really good job. So I advise you to go watch him before he comes on Tuesday night. And we will which players, college players, are going where and how many top players are going to go in the top 2 rounds. We're going to start with a 2-round mock draft. So, but it's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time. We're going to pair our shows with him. It's going to run on his channel and our channel at the same time. And we look forward to doing that. before I get off, if you're going to give to some a charity this year, check out our homes for our troops to give to our wounded veterans, and build homes and kind of rebuild their lives and get them started.
I will say this about the whole NFL draft guy. I hope Tuesday evening I can come in and I'll know that the Cowboys are headed to the NFC Championship. And I will ride that. I will ride it until Sunday.
All right, guys.
If they lose, I might not be feeling too good. So
I'm looking forward to the whole NFL mock draft thing next Tuesday. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun to do. Talk about all the top college kids and the players and where they're going. Matter of fact, I just yesterday seen a mock draft from CBS where they have the Bears trading out of the first pick with Indianapolis, and they actually have Indianapolis picking Will Levis with the first pick. And that was a real mock draft yesterday from CBS. So I don't know. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you what's happening, but a real mock draft guy is picking that to happen. That's all I'm saying. So it's going to be interesting. And I do know that the guy we're going to have on, the mock draft guy, YouTube, he is high on Indianapolis wanting Will Levis. There's two teams that he likes for Will Levis, and Indianapolis is one and Carolina is the other. There's two teams that he says is really high on Will Levis. So out of the top 10. It'll be interesting with those things. So anyways, I'm just throwing that out there. A lot of people think Will Levis is not going to go in the top 10. I think he is. We'll see. We'll see where the YouTube guy has him. So y'all check him out. We will see you on Sunday with Stephen Heigl for college basketball and college football insight, and we'll have a little fun with that. We'll talk probably mostly college basketball, but we'll have a little fun with that, and we will see you guys on the road.